Thank Brenda and Tiffany and the governor himself, Governor Sisolak, for having me. It's a real honor. I consider myself, while I wasn't born in Nevada, I do consider Nevada to be my home state. It's where I started my career. It's where it is truly an honor to be playing downtown Las Vegas for the first time. Usually the Strip is more my speed. But it's great to be here. It's great to be here today. How did I get here? Well, so I mentioned that I started in Reno. I loved radio from a very early age. I found myself listening through radio instead of to radio. Found myself essentially analyzing it, thinking about, in a small town like Reno, I was listening to, at night, you could get stations from faraway places like San Francisco and Los Angeles. The atmospheric conditions are different at night, so you can actually get stations from further away. And so I found myself listening, and as a boy in a small town in my bedroom doing homework, I could imagine what it was like to be in San Francisco, or where that DJ might be, or why they were doing this or that. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was analyzing these stations, and I was becoming sort of an armchair expert without really realizing it, and I loved radio. Fast forward, my mom, who's an amazing influence on my life, signed me up for a YMCA radio class when I was about 15. And that meant we got to drive around to local Reno radio stations with a bunch of burnouts, and me in probably the same outfit. I still dress like a high school kid. So we stopped at KOZZ in Reno, where I ended up working, and in the lobby at that station, you have to tour stations. In the lobby of that station, I saw a postcard stand, and it said, KOZZ Amateur Hour, Sunday nights, 7 o'clock. And a light bulb went off, and I said, for the last 6 months, I've been trying to figure out how to get on radio because it has this high standard. You can be in a garage band, and you can make a #1 song. But in radio, they had this standard where you have to have a show to get on the air, and you have to be on the air to get a show. How was I going to crack that code? And so I realized that the way I was going to crack that code was by getting on that amateur hour. If I could get on the amateur hour, I'd have an actual tape from an actual radio station. I'd be able to go in there the next day, and I'd be able to get a job on the radio. So I filled out my postcard, sent it in. 3 weeks later, I got a call back that I was chosen. I had 3 weeks to prepare for my show. I over-prepared for it. And I went on the air Sunday night at 7 o'clock. I had everybody I know, including Brenda here, record it on cassettes all over the city so that I would be able to have one good copy. The next morning, I went into the station with my dad's briefcase, a cassette, and a banana probably, and a couple of other, and some headphones maybe. And I sat in the lobby until the program director would meet with me. He said I was the first person to ever come in and actually try to get a job off of the amateur hour. He let me hang out for the summer. Within a few months, someone didn't show up. I went on the air, and here I am today. So it was an amazing odyssey to get here. I've spent a life presenting. So from there, just fast forward, that sent me off on a career of radio broadcasting and then programming, and then to the largest cities in the country. From there to K-Rock in Los Angeles, I caught the attention of MTV, and I spent the 90s programming MTV and VH1 and creating MTV2, and took a tour through the record business, running Warner Brothers Records, pioneering digital music services, running CBS radio, hundreds of stations, advising XM radio. So if it's been AM, FM, XM, streamed, whatever, I've sort of been around the block on that. So I've spent a life presenting music experiences that connect content with creators and audiences. And I was thinking, why should this morning really be any different? I'd like to bring out Matt Pinfield as my special guest.
Hey everybody, how are you? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
Hey, man.
So good to see you.
Welcome.
Yeah, great to see you. I want to say that, Andy and I are still friends after we met over 25 years ago. And Andy actually changed my life because he hired me, much like Andy, as a kid, I wanted to be in radio. I loved music so much. I did a pledge drive. I paid to get on the radio at Rutgers University, where I ended up going to school and then doing college radio there for a while. But I was running a small radio station in the Asbury Park, New Jersey area. And Andy, I think you could tell kind of the story about how we met. We met at a barbecue, right?
It's a very similar story to the Kevin and Bean story. As I took a chance on Matt, I met him at a backyard barbecue on Long Island on July 4th, 1993. I said, what are you doing Tuesday? Because Monday's a holiday. Will you come into MTV? I think you should just come to work. And he's like, I'll come in,
Yeah.
And that was it. And within 2 weeks, he was on MTV. Matt today is one of the most recognized figures in music, an author, a nationally syndicated radio host. He's on Sirius XM. He's one of the most popular MTV VJs of all time. And that's why I called him up here originally, because I thought, Matt, I'm going to jockey some clips, but that's over my pay grade. I'm more of an executive, so I wanted to bring in the heavyweights.
Well, it was kind of you. And I got to just say, one of the greatest moments of my life Andy made happen was, so I'm running this radio station in Asbury Park, New Jersey, which was one of the first 13 alternative rock stations in the country. And I met with Andy, and I was waiting to hear from him. And that one day, like, we were in a house, this radio station. It was a commercial radio station, but it was a house. The sales and the production were down in the basement. You had to go through the woman who owned the place's kitchen to get down there. There were 2 studios, and there were only 3 phone lines. So I was waiting for Andy's call, and all the lines are busy because the salespeople are on the phone, the production guy, someone's calling in with a request, and I'm like, oh man, what if he's trying to get through and he changes his mind? So he calls, and I answer the phone, and he goes, Matt, it's Andy. I go, hey, Andy. I goes, you know, I've been trying to call you for like an hour. And I go, oh man, I'm really sorry. There's only 3 lines here. And then he goes, I'll tell you what, come work for me, and I'll make sure you have more than 3 lines. And that was the changing moment of my life.
Gonna set my soul, gonna set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up higher. There's 1,000 pretty women waiting out there. They're all living the devil may care, and I'm just a devil with love to spare. So viva Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas.
You gotta love that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Elvis Presley, everybody. What do you think of that? I mean, you know, he loved Vegas so much, Andy, that for a while he wasn't really accepted here yet. You know, he was trying to get in, and you know, he really respected a lot of people that were performing here, like the guys in the Rat Pack, and he was waiting to get accepted. And finally, Las Vegas embraced him, and now he's a part of its, you know, historic fabric for a long time.
See why he's here? He's the VJ. See, I wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that.